So we're going to start talking about our 2025 season. It feels like we were just here.
It feels like we just closed Beautiful. And they were just here talking about last season, but now here we are talking about this season. And it's so exciting. I'm so thrilled about all the things that are going to happen starting June 18th when we open our first show, which is Waitress. I just got off the road with the audition tour, and we saw over 400 people for the resident ensemble and over 300 people for these people that are the equity leads coming in who want to come in for these 20 roles. We saw over 345 people, which is incredible, and they were all so good. But the role that was like the number one role is Jenna in Waitress, and rightly so. I mean, the Waitress is such a great show. It was on Broadway in 2016. It's written by pop star Sarah Bareilles. She did the music and the lyrics, and she also starred in the show at one point. The original Jenna was Jessie Mueller. It's based on the 1980s. What year was the movie? I think maybe 2007. Anyway, it's a great movie about this waitress named Jenna who has maybe not the best, made the best decisions in life, and she's found herself in a loveless marriage, and she also finds that she's pregnant, and she looks to what she's been taught by her mom, baking, to get through all of these moments in her life. And when Sarah took the movie, and made it into the musical, she really was able to translate all of that into her lyrics. And if you listen to, She Used to Be Mine, or any of the other songs that, we hear all the time from people because they're such great songs. But in the context of the show, it really is Jenna's journey. That one song, it really does give you, because I'm directing the show, so I'm really delving into it more, especially now because we start rehearsal in 2 weeks. 2 months. 2 months, not weeks. But it really does give you the backstory of what Jenna's struggle is. And, the cast for this show is spectacular. If you remember last season, we did a little show called Frozen, and the young lady who played Elsa is coming back to play Jenna, Miss Kennedy Coggle. And the voice is insane. We had so many people and so many great people, and so a lot of many choices. But Kennedy, we loved her last year. She's so easy to work with, and she delivers so well. The voice is spectacular, but just like Kelly O'Hara, the acting is it comes so easy and so natural. And as a director, you want someone who can come in and just play in the room and try many different ways, and you can throw something at it and it doesn't throw them. They just take it and filter it through them and then try to do it. And she's always so successful. And the Dr. Pomatter, who is her gynecologist, that she finds, she thinks she's going to the woman who's been her doctor her entire life, and she discovers that when she goes to find out that she's pregnant, that doctor has now retired and not seeing patients anymore. So there's this new doctor, and he's just moved to this southern town from Connecticut, and he's kind of awkward and nervous and anxiety-ridden. And but the music, thank you, Sarah Bareilles, for Dr. Pomatter is very, very difficult. I mean, it sits very high, but it also has to have a really great comic timing. And we were having a really hard time finding someone, and then Ben Fankhauser walked in and delivered and was so great, and again, so warm. And as another MTW, he's been here before. He was in American in Paris in 2019, I believe that was. 2019,
he was the piano playing lead, and really, really lovely.
Oh, such a nice human being. And, in correlation with the other shows that we're doing, he was the original Davy in Newsies on Broadway, and so which is another show we're doing later. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But he's coming back to be Dr. Pomatter, and the two of them together will be fantastic. Now, we also have Enjoy Fountain, who's playing Becky, and Maggie Spicer Brown from up in Salina, who's coming down to be Dawn. And another local guy that I had never met before, who just came into the audition, his name is Julian Ibarra, who's going to be playing Ogie, and he is fantastic too. So this cast is out of this world. We have a really lovely man playing Joe from New York City named Jerome Hardiman, and he's fantastic. And then also we have local Sheila Kennard, who's going to be playing Nurse Norma, who's like the all-knowing but kind of like in the background, but she sees all the things happening, sassy nurse. So that's exciting.
Amazing. Yeah. One of the things that I think is so incredible about this Sarah Bareilles music and lyrics that you see throughout all of her music, when you listen to her speak, like especially about her childhood and just like her life, she is somebody that has like a decent amount of anxiety and feels awkward and sort of writes her songs in these ways that it's so relatable if you've ever been a person who feels anxiety or awkwardness or any of those things. The song that is probably her most famous song is this song called Love Song that most of you would recognize if you heard it played a lot on the radio. And instead of writing a traditional love song, she writes a song that she's like, I'm not going to write you a love song is the lyric. Like, I'm not giving you what you want. There's just so much humor and character in her music. And I think that really comes across in the songs, in the show's songs, that you just feel this. You feel awkward when you're supposed to feel awkward, and you feel anxious when she wants you to feel anxious, and it's so very relatable. So I'm really excited to get to live inside this music for a few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I don't think a lot of pop stars write that way, and I don't, especially it's so when you hear she's writing a musical. You think that like that love song is a great song, and there's so many great Sarah Bareilles songs from her pop world, but if you listen to like Love Is I Love You Like a Table, which is a hilarious song that Ogie sings, she really has this great musical theater storytelling comic sensibility about her, which I guess you wouldn't really know. She just released a new song because she's writing a new musical called The Interestings, and she just released the first song from that. And so there'll be more from Sarah Bareilles in the Broadway, we hope.
Yeah. One other place a couple other places we've seen her lately is that she was in The Baker's Wife, Into the Woods, the new, the most recent revival of it, and really beautiful singing. You can go listen to the cast album from that. And then also there's this very quirky show, I think on Netflix, that's produced by Tina Fey called Girls Five Eva, which also has a little feature from a Music Theater Wichita alum named Ashley Park, who was in that show, and also Emily in Paris. So there's just, if you're up on all of the pop culture things, which not always, but if you are, then you'll have seen Sarah Bareilles in a bunch of different places.
Yeah. We're so excited about that show. The ensemble for that show, too, is a smaller ensemble. We'll have about, I think we have 12 ensemble members who are joining us for that. Like I said, I'm directing and choreographing the show. Thomas W. Douglas will be back to be musical director. And then the cast, again, is just so exciting and so fun. We have a new set that we're designing by Jay Branson, who we're going to be using, I don't want to give it away, but we'll be using some turntable action. And it really is cool. In the original production on Broadway, they had the band on stage. And I was like, why is that band in the diner? So we're not having the band in the diner. They'll be under the stage like before. And but
put them in the pit where they belong.
Exactly. That's right. Who says that? I think that's Gypsy, Mama Rose, right? Yeah. From last year.
Yeah.
So we're very excited about this show. As I start working on it in my head, I see this like very cinematic, because everything has great transition music, which is, again, thank you very much, Sarah Bareilles, from one scene to the next, and it's just really an emotional. It's a great show, but it has a lot of heart to it. I was a little nervous in picking it because in the show, everyone cheats on everyone, but their stories are their own. And so I think you have to come into this theater with an open mind and thinking like, oh, I'm just going to go on this journey with them, because you see different people's struggles and what they go through. And it's just like life. I mean, everyone's life is different. And, my mantra is every soul must walk its own path. And in this show, it is so true. You can look at them and on face value, you can judge them for the decisions they make. But if you listen to their stories, you can kind of understand why they make them and how it sometimes turns out beautifully and sometimes not. But it's just like life. And that's what musical theater does. It just we just sing and dance about these things a little bit and to get our point across.
Yeah, we have rated this show PG-13 mostly because, and we say it's because grown-ups behave badly in the show. So if you had a little Elsa that you brought to Frozen last year, that depending on what age, that Elsa might need to be a date night or a girls' night, and Elsa might need to wait and come along to Newsies, which would be a great show.
That's a perfect show for little Elsas.